Hi, this is Dr. Stephanie Wautier, and I'm the host of Conversations with a Chiropractor. I am going on my 17th year as a chiropractor, and prior to that, I was a critical care nurse working in the neuro ICU. Currently, I wear many hats, including wife, mother, sister, daughter, business owner, and friend. But this podcast really isn't about me. Although I share a lot of personal stories when I'm chatting with my guests, this podcast is about the conversations that I've had with the amazing people along my life's journey. Some of these people have been my patients, and some of them are people who I've crossed paths with for many other reasons. You will hear stories of tragedy, trauma, and triumph, of ordinary people overcoming obstacles. You'll hear stories of perseverance and peace, of fear, faith, and failure. And you'll hear some simple yet profound human exchanges. Every conversation unfolds in a unique way, and I know you'll glean some benefit as the listener. I have been blessed with the gift of walking alongside people on their health journeys and their journeys through this life. I've been blessed with people trusting me not only with their bodies, but with their stories and their souls. It is an honor to be trusted with the most deep and vulnerable pieces of these people. I have also been just as much a student of life in this relationships, learning from my sometimes older and always wiser friends. With as much negative as we see in the world, it is my sincerest intention to bring some good back in. Conversations with a Chiropractor is a little bit of history, a little bit of healing, and a whole lot of heart. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy these conversations with a chiropractor. So for so many years, I have said that I'm going to write a book about you. And the laziness in me said, I think I better just ask you some questions about your life. I'm going to tell everybody, first of all, that you were born in May of 1939 in McMillan, Michigan, right?
Yes, ma'am. Culture capital of the UK.
Now, nowadays, McMillan has like one yellow stop sign, right? Or one flashing.
One bar, I don't know if it's open or not. The post office. There's about 40 people there. Oh,
So your dad worked in the woods, right? That was
Right.
his main living.
right.
Did your mom work?
Oh, yeah, she worked as a psychiatric attendant in the state hospital in Newbury.
She did. I don't know if I ever even knew that.
She worked for years there. And my dad lost his leg.
How old were you when that happened?
He was 40, I was 11.
Wow. So he lost his leg in the woods in an accident, and he was no longer able to work.
Oh,
Right.
He went to work at the state hospital.
He did.
He worked for 18 years there.
He did. Wow.
He was He-Man personified.
Okay. Now, you told me once that for a birthday, I don't know what birthday it was, that you were given the gift of a saw, right?
Saw blade.
A saw blade.
And I think it probably ran $1.59 at the time.
Okay.
That's my Christmas gift.
That was your Christmas gift.
Right.
And your dad said something to you like, this one saw blade is going to make you so much money, right?
He says that's better than ice skates or skis or bicycles or any of that junk.
And you did go cut wood down.
Pulpwood.
Tell me about that process.
It was quite a process. We worked by the hour. Few kids at McMillan, and there was one fellow there that was brave enough to hire us, give us an axe.
Okay.
And that was the old bucksaw days before the chainsaws were quite prevalent. And we chopped the limbs off of those trees. And my dad said, why don't you go peacemaking? You cut an 8-foot stick for 10 cents. If
Okay.
You filed it. He says, you can make more than your $6 a day that you're making. They told me all the different moves to make, and he was absolutely right. He kept my saw sharp. He's an excellent filer. And I was cutting as much as most of the men on the job
Wow.
after the summer was over.
And that was when you
Well,
were
Making $9, $10, $11.
a day.
Yeah, instead of the 6.
How
I had the
old were
best
you?
clothes. I had the best clothes, best boots, best everything in McMillan of all the kids. And all the kids went out and tried it a little bit, but they didn't have a father like I did. To them, kept their saws sharp.
I want to go back a little bit. how old were you when you had that big accident, when you were run over?
6 years old.
Okay.
Almost 7. It happened May the 11th. 22nd, I was a year older.
Okay.
The drive smashed up my pelvis, ruptured my bladder, separated my urethra, my sternum. Spent a lot of time in the hospital. Went to the university hospital.
So you're 6 years old and you're in this tiny little town. And where did you go for your very first treatment? You went to Newberry.
There was an I don't like to call him a doctor. I like to call him butcher, rather. He said, take the boy home. He's just suffering a little bit of shock.
Wow.
So my dad didn't believe that was so, and he had a person from McMillan drive me to Marquette. I spent 3 months in a body cast.
Wow.
Operations and stuff.
So fractured sternum, fractured pelvis, and your bladder and your urethra ruptured. Wow.
Then down to the university hospital.
Now, I remember you telling me a little bit about the process of getting down there. So,
so my mother and dad would put me on a train in McMillan. To switch trains down at Trout Lake, I think it was. Then my uncle would pick me up in Detroit and take me over for my treatments in Ann Arbor.
So you're literally like 6 or 7 years old, completely alone.
A little, maybe 7 or 8 by then.
Okay.
They'd put me on there, and those conductors and helpers in there used me good.
Wow.
It's quite a novelty having a cute little red-haired guy.
But you were completely alone. Your mom and dad weren't with you.
No.
No.
Oh, no.
I think it's amazing. So that was before the Mackinac Bridge was even built.
Oh, yes.
So you take the train from McMillan to St. Ignace?
To Trout Lake.
Trout Lake.
To switch trains.
Okay. And that train went across the ferry?
The train went on the ferry boat.
Wow.
Got on them tracks again and went to Detroit, Grand Central Station.
Wow. Do you remember how long that process took?
About 7 in the morning, if I remember right, and it'd be along toward midnight.
Wow.
It'd be the middle of the night when we get to Detroit.
Would you eat all day? I mean, were you...
They'd give you food, yes. Mother would make me a sandwich or
okay.
and full of cupcakes or something.
And all those people along the way took care of you.
Oh, yes.
I mean, isn't that amazing?
It is indeed.
We think now about our kids being, I don't know, like unsafe, right? Like we would never let them out of our sight, right? Not even in the park. And here you are, a 7 or 8-year-old little boy, and your mom and dad just entrusted you to the care of strangers, really.
They didn't have a whole lot of choice. They were so darn poor.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have 2 nickels to rub together.
Mm. And how many brothers and sisters do you have again?
3 brothers and 1 sister.
And where do you fall in the lineup?
The second from the oldest.
Okay.
Sister's older.
So then you had 3 younger siblings that needed to be cared for at home.
Yeah, mother was pretty busy.
Yeah. And she worked.
Every nickel she did. The puny little wages down at that state hospital. My dad thought he couldn't believe the good fortune he had when he got hired there.
So he was excited that he got the job there with only 1 leg.
Oh, yes. He could work on his artificial leg, but as soon as he got home at night, that came off. Back to his crutches.
Ooh.
He used to walk 1.75 miles about up to that lake in the winter on the railroad track to go fishing.
Wow. You guys probably ate a lot of fish, right?
Oh, yes. My dad was super at everything he did. Probably the best trapper in the UP or the eastern end of it anyway.
Really?
Really a good fisherman.
Did he hunt deer?
Oh, yes. Shot a lot of deer. He let me carry a gun when I was 10 years old.
Really?
Well, I can't imagine that happening today.
No, not at all.
But I was 11 years old and I shot my first deer, an old beat-up 22. I had to finish the deer off of the club. It was still alive and I ran out of bullets.
Wow. And you had probably seen that kind of thing done. You'd probably been out in the woods with your
I'd been there with my dad.
dad.
Certainly.
Now, where did your mom and dad's parents come from?
My dad's parents, one came from the James Bay area. He was about half Indian.
Okay.
My granddad came from Kentucky.
He did.
Big old Scotsman.
Okay.
And my mother, her dad was full-blooded Frenchman.
Okay.
Her mother was English.
Did you see them very much, your grandparents?
Oh, I saw my dad's parents all the time.
They lived right there.
He was an old carpenter and blacksmith.
Okay. So you learned a lot from your dad about hunting and fishing, trapping,
yes.
surviving in the wilderness.
Oh, yes.
And it sounds like your grandpa was like the carpenter, the blacksmith.
Yep.
And I know that you became a tile man.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back a little bit to high school times. So, was it pretty common in the day for kids to graduate from high school?
There were quite a few who didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to.
You weren't.
I told my dad, I said, well, I'm old enough to drop out of school now. 16 makes more money. And he says, you're going to school. That's all there was to it. Didn't argue with the fact or debate it or...
Now, had he finished high school?
He had to go to work.
Yeah.
He went through the 11th grade.
Okay. That's still pretty far.
That was it.
You know? Yeah. So you finish high school and you meet your wife?
Yeah, during high school.
She was your high school sweetheart?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Got married, had kids.
And you lived right in McMillan during that time?
Well, I lived down in Davison and got worked in the Flint area and got that tile trade.
That's when that happened. Okay.
I was in my early 20s.
Okay. You learned downstate.
I had gone to work in the Ypsilanti State Hospital.
Oh.
As a psychiatric aide. Down there for 2.5 years. I worked over in Lapeer State Hospital.
You did?
That was strictly to get some insurance for my kids.
Okay.
Then I did tile work on top of
all the hospital work.
Yeah.
Did your wife work at all?
No, not the first one.
Okay. How many kids did you guys have?
5.
So you go downstate, you learn that tile work. And did you mostly live downstate before you moved to Arizona?
We moved back to McMillan. I had quite a drinking problem. I moved back there. I thought everything would be hunky-dory with my old friends, and they'd understand me and all that malarkey. Not so. I still brought my sorry carcass with me when I came back. But I got into that wonderful 12-step program that saved my life, made the whole new life for me. I was down and out drunk. Leave it alone.
Oh, it's an addiction. It's
49 years ago.
Wow.
I haven't had to go out drinking. Then we left the UP in the 80s. Things got pretty... Well, I went back to log cutting.
Okay.
Worked in the woods for a few years there. I didn't think I could do that tile work anymore. That drink could beat me down so bad. When I saw logs, and I cut my hand pretty bad, and I had to go back into the tile work.
Okay.
Didn't think I could. Well, one old guy says, Bill, he says, if you want to try on my house, go ahead.
Oh. We've had some really beautiful conversations about basically the transformation of your life and your...
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. You go from one life to a different one. So from a non-life to a life. I used to be in a crowd of people all around, sitting there soaking up more alcohol and totally lonesome. Go to an AA meeting, might be 6 people there. I'm with somebody. I'm with some humans.
Yeah.
I've joined the human race. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's amazing how human can be beaten down.
Do you think that, now, I can't remember, was it your mom that drank? Does she have an alcohol problem?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
She died when she was working at that same hospital.
She did. How old was she?
54.
Wow. That is young. So young. And she never quit. She drank probably till the day she died.
Yes.
I mean, do you think that addiction is a little bit hereditary?
Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Predisposition for it. No, nobody else takes that bottle and pours it down your neck. Do
Yeah.
it your own self. The beauty of that AA program is you take care of all that guilt and remorse. Get forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
Comes from a higher power.
Yeah.
Higher power used to be either my dad or that bottle. More. One old guy in the AA meeting says, "Hey, Marv, how do you get this belief?" Believed in something. Felt about it. I said, "How do you get this?" He says, "You're working in the woods, aren't you?" He said, "We'll have a little talk with him." So I did. I looked all around to see that nobody was watching me. There weren't any more people within 5 miles of me. I wasn't struck down, so I tried it again the next. Then I fortunately got to work with a Indian fellow. That first meeting I went to, we talked about the presence of God.
Yeah.
It wasn't to him, he wouldn't say God. Great Spirit.
Now, this is the gentleman, your friend, who was quite a fiddler, right?
He was a champion of Ontario.
Wow. We talked before a movie called like The Medicine Fiddle.
Yeah,
Is that his?
He's in that. He's in the Good Man in the Woods, too. One of them by looking on.
Okay. So here you guys had this connection of both having been drinkers and
not drinkers.
And then non-drinkers.
He came up to me. He is one of the 6 people, I think, in that meeting.
Okay.
He says, "I was wondering when you get here, Bill."
But never before that had he pressured you or pushed you or...
And the brother-in-law, too, he says, "Bill," he says, "you've been drinking again, I see." Had a few. Had quite a few. Yeah. Nobody business, but I have my own here, eh? He says, "And quit by yourself." I said, "Bullshit." And quit anytime I want to, which was a big fat lie.
Yeah.
Bottle had me right by the jugular.
Mm-hmm.
Huey didn't press me neither. He'd leave small folders here and there once in a while with my wife.
AA folders?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's such a big, huge part of my life.
That transformation?
Yeah.
Now, I know that you guys got divorced.
After I sobered up for 4 years, we just grew further.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "It's your problem, ain't mine." That's a family problem at alcohol.
Yeah.
So we got divorced. Met my present wife at an AA meeting. McMillan.
McMillan.
Culture capital.
And how old were you when you had your first child?
I was 18.
Yeah.
Right.
You have 5 kids, trying to survive life, trying to get food on the table, trying to conquer this alcoholism.
Well, I loved seeing the little kids grow up. I loved playing with them. I remember all that stuff, too. Maybe the youngest one hasn't quite forgiven me yet. Jeannie and the rest of them have.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that you are the patriarch. You are the papa. You're the papa bear, you know? You love to laugh and enjoy those kids and grandkids. I think that's really beautiful and special, like that they haven't harbored any ill will or, you know.
I'm sure they had their feelings about it. For instance, my oldest one, you know her, I came home from a drunk, and I woke up out of a blackout. The blackouts or something.
Yeah.
You're gone.
You're unconscious.
But I woke up for that, and I had her by the neck. Crazy.
How old was she?
About 15. To see that stark fear in her eye. But Jeannie doesn't remember that.
She doesn't. That's a gift.
It is.
Gift.
It's
Yeah.
the psychiatrist got a name for it. Defense. Defense mechanism.
Right.
I've done so many, yes.
We've also done a lot of wonderful things.
This old friend I've got, I drink with him too. But he's 44 years sober now.
Wow.
He came in 5 years after I did.
Okay.
I still see him. He keeps up with me.
He
All
does.
through this cancer and this AFib, he's called me every day.
He has. So when we're recording this, I'll tell people, so you and I haven't seen each other for 2 months. You've been in the hospital 6 times. So you just had been fighting off a cancer, an esophageal cancer, and now gallstones and AFib.
Oh, yes. Well, that laughter, Reg.
Yeah.
That little gal's got something on the ball.
So we were talking, and Dr. Shabazi, who we're going to come up with a really good comeback, but when you said you might as well just donate your body to science, what did he say?
I don't think we can use you. Yeah, he had the best comeback of all time right there.
So you're at least going to donate your body to science. Exactly. I mean, you're like the bionic man, right?
Precious metals in me.
Exactly.
I tell my boy when they burn me up, I says, you better be there. Don't talk like that. Well, none of us are going to get out of this stuff.
I know, right?
I'm probably in the process of leaving this whole earth, right? I'm an old man.
I know that we've talked a lot about things, and I won't answer the question for you, but if somebody said, do you have any regrets? I know you would regret those times where you were drinking, but you've made peace with all that, right?
Yes.
So you really feel,
Did the best I could with what I had. And if I can forgive myself,
yes,
that's a big deal, forgiving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's everybody ought to get a grip on that.
Yeah.
Because you go through life with shame and regret, remorse, and kicking yourself butt or what?
Right.
Humans.
It doesn't do any good. It can eat somebody up.
It certainly
inside.
will. It was eating me alive.
Yeah.
I was nowhere near as good as any of them. He says, hey, join the human race here.
Yeah.
First thing they told me in there is, you don't have to sober up for a day or a year or a month. Try 24 hours. But break that down into minutes or seconds if you have to.
Yeah.
That's what you got now.
Literally one day at a time. Yeah.
Oh, that's heavy. That's still magical.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind.
And you've conquered so much. You've conquered so much physical, emotional.
But I look at it now, Steph, it wasn't my doing. I went down to them old ex-drunks. But psychiatrists and some doctors and preachers, they've all had a pretty good lick at me. They straightened me out. Them old ex-drunks are the ones that done it.
Yeah. With the help of the Great Spirit, right?
That's where it comes from.
Yeah. Bill, if you had to say in like 1 or 2 sentences, like, this is who I am, what would you say?
I would say, well, here I am. I did the best I could with what I had. And I hope that's good enough. I'd like to be remembered as a halfway decent person. Some asshole. Some people are going to take that to the grave with them too, because I haven't always had harmony in my relationship.
Well, you've worked very hard to create that harmony for now, like 5 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep after it.
How many grandkids and great-grandkids do you have?
We've got, I think, 12 grandkids.
Okay.
Between Kathy and me. Got about 18 or 20 great-grandkids.
Wow.
One great one.
Wow. And you've created this legacy with these children.
Makes you stop and think when you go to that family reunion, I'm responsible for some of that.
Well, what I think of you is that I think that you are the epitome of strength of character and that your positivity is contagious.
Well, that positive's got to be my life. I'll tell someone negative, talking negative stuff in a meeting. I'll tell them, well, in 3rd grade, learned something about math, where the positive was above zero, the negative was below zero. Where in the hell do you want to live your life?
That is a beautifully clear way to put it, right? The positive's above zero and the negative's below.
It's been a fun trip, and for years I kept saying, man, I'd do this differently, do that differently. Bull. Dive right into it the same way I did before.
Because if you didn't go down that path, you wouldn't have learned those lessons. And we wouldn't have met in Gwynn, Michigan.
No.
How many years ago? 15 years ago?
I was talking to Jeannie about, she remembered bear hunters. She and about 4 of her chums, they're all about 12, 13 years old. I was drinking at the time. But they got in the bar, got drunk up, and they were following these little girls around town. I heard about it, and I went down there at the Cobblestone Bar, and I didn't have too good of a reputation by that time. I went up to that one, and I hit him a good lick, knocked him cold. Looking for the other brother, and my brother grabs me around the neck. He said, I thought you went berserk or something. Swore what people thought of me around there. I thought I was. They knew I was.
Wow. Just when you were drinking.
Yeah, but it wasn't half hour later. Those other girls that my daughters had chummed with, they're dead. He ain't going to do the same damn thing I did.
Wow.
He's killed them. Sure as he could. I would have.
Yeah, you are truly what we think about when we think about like a knight in shining armor. Like coming to... Truly.
I have much going for me, Steph.
Yes, you do.
I don't have anything original to throw out in an AA meeting or anywhere. So it's just repeated stuff. I've heard it from the best of them.
Well, you know, this is why I wanted to write your story, because here's the thing. When we don't carry stories on, they are lost, right?
Right.
You needed to repeat what other people said for the next generation and the next generation.
This one guy who I told you I drank with before, just 5 years later, stayed at hunting camp a few years. A big part of our program is cleaning up wreckage of to God, to yourself, and to another human being, the exact nature of your wrong. So he and I will come up with stuff on each other.
Really?
We write like this, we're drinking together. We couldn't go from McMillan to Seney or to Curtis, which are about 10 miles away, without running in a ditch or getting in a fist.
Did your dad ever like reprimand you or come down on you for getting into trouble?
No, it would be useless to try to talk to him. He did say something when I socked that guy. The guy was right beside him in the bar.
Wow.
He says, what do you mean? He says, that's not how you go through life, fighting in the bar. Well, I was this big, Steph. He walked me into the Cobblestone Bar. I can remember it just like yesterday. He had both legs. He was a walking He-Man. He had arms that big around, holy cow, and he got in an argument with 3 lower Michigan hunters. Well, one guy tied into my dad, and my dad, bang, one punch, he was laid up. Here come the other one after one punch, he laid on the floor. But he was wiggling a little bit, so my dad went and stood on his neck.
Oh my gosh.
Then the guy jumped on his back, the third one.
Ooh.
Once, and my cousin was in there. He's a pretty big, strong young guy. He picked the guy up, shoved him down head first behind that old jukebox.
You're like, what, 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Scared shitless.
Yeah, that's something to see.
Then the old man says you don't go fight in the bar.
Right.
No, I didn't have the nerve to.
I should probably let you go. But I do thank you for sharing some of your wisdom.
Agreeable stuff. Talking to a good friend.
We'll definitely do a part 2.
All right.
Yes.
Getting run over by that truck, and then sobering up. That thing ever happened.
I mean, you think about what kids withstand these days, you know. What does a kid have to go through? Oh, they have to go through bullying or they break their arm. But I think that there are very few kids who can even perceive what you went through, you know?
The other from that truck run over is 2 years in the hospital.
Wow.
They used to have to keep dilating me and reoperating on that bladder and urethra and everything. I got in a lot of fist fights over that. The other kids are mean.
Yeah.
Call me piss pants and everything. And find a puny for being in the hospital so long. My dad says, can't go through life this way. He said, I'm going to put you in a little training project. He gets me on the end of that little crosscut with that big round sawhorse. I'd get my arms hurt so bad I'd cry. Good, you're making muscle. And he's quite an old fighter. He boxed out in the CC camps.
He did.
Hell of an athlete.
So that was his way of rehabilitating you. Saw logs.
He showed me some good boxing moves. And says usually the best lick you get in is the first one. 9, 10 years old, and here come the old bully. Whip up on me to show the other kids that he could do it. A couple of years older than I was. And so I took a good aim at his nose, and I socked him as hard as I could. Blood squirted out of his nose, and he run hollering to his mama. That's the end of that bully.
Yep.
Felt better than my first piece of.
Those bullies, they just need to know you're not afraid of them.
Thanks to the old man, they showed me how to get through that.
I know that you said once that he was your hero.
Yeah.
Or he is your hero.
Yeah.
That's pretty spectacular to have a dad like that.
He was good to all them kids in McMillan, too. They all welcome to go with him up the river and all over the place. Didn't have much patience with some of the grown-ups.
He had what we call a bullshit meter, right?
He certainly did. Still, I can wake up today, and it's exciting.
You've got your dapper Hawaiian shirt on, and you're looking good.
Being light, well,
the sun is shining. You get to see your
blessings, eh?
You get to see your favorite chiropractor.
That's for sure. Favorite people.
Bill and I recorded this podcast in the summer of 2023, and unfortunately, there was never a part 2. Bill went to be with the Great Spirit in December of 2023.
Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with a Chiropractor. Your support and engagement are what make this podcast a success. Each episode brings you enriching conversations with interesting people and dives into the many facets of chiropractic health and wellness. If your company is interested in partnering with Conversations with a Chiropractor to reach a dedicated audience, please contact us at conversationswithachiropractor@gmail.com for sponsorship and endorsement opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe to Conversations with a Chiropractor on platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And if you enjoy our content, please consider rating us. It helps the show grow and continue providing great content. Stay connected by following our Facebook page at facebook.com/Wautier Wellness and visit our website, wautierwellness.com, for more information. Conversations with a Chiropractor looks forward to bringing you more engaging and enlightening episodes. Until next time, stay healthy and stay aligned. Credits: podcast production by Plas Vocal. Interested in starting your own podcast? Learn more and reach out at www.voiceover.work.